What do the fictional characters Bertha Russell and Elle Woods have in common? Bertha Russell is a stinking rich matriarch during the Gilded Age of American history. The other is a blonde, privileged, sometimes ditzy law student set in the early 2000s. In my opinion, what makes these women similar and likable is that regardless of their wealth and status and privilege, they are depicted as likable underdogs. Let's examine. Now, normally on the Beauty History channel, we talk about a designer behind a label and we do a deep dive on their life, but I thought it would be fun to try something different and a little bit more pop culture. So for today's video, we're going to examine Bertha Russell from season 1 of the TV show The Gilded Age and Elle Woods from the 2000 film Legally Blonde, the first movie. And I'm going to try to remain spoiler-free for both pieces of media. So what exactly makes these women similar and makes them likable underdogs? When we first meet Bertha Russell in the first season of the TV show The Gilded Age, we learn instantly that she and her family are ostentatiously wealthy and that her husband has made his wealth and their wealth through railroads. Her family has built a palatial mansion in Manhattan in downtown New York. This mansion has innumerous live-in servants, live-in help, and we learn the names of a handful of them. Most of their live-in staff are as unimportant to us, the viewer, as a piece of furniture. They're just moving about and we don't know anything about them. We also learn right away that Bertha Russell is desperate to attain a certain status. She is doing everything within her power to climb the ranks and join her peers as a social elite. Her goal is to be accepted into high society. It is established right away that the Russells and the Russell family has made their wealth. They are quote unquote new money. Now the term new money versus old money means that someone who is new money has had to make their wealth. The Russells made their wealth through work and through working through the railroads in the US. Someone who is old money simply inherits their money. They don't actually have to work. They don't have to have a job. They inherit money from their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, etc. Being designated as new money, as the Russells are, automatically makes them socially inferior to their neighbors, to their social peers, even though they actually have more wealth and more money than many of the old money neighbors. They are automatically seen as lesser than because they had to work to achieve their wealth. Because of her status as new money, Bertha is automatically seen as lesser than her neighbors and her peers. So regardless of how hard she works and regardless of how ruthless she is in trying to climb the social ladder, she will always be seen as apart from the old money because the old money didn't even have to work to have all of their wealth, whereas the new money Russell family, there is this weird insinuation that comes with new money. It implies upward mobility, which is quite jarring to the old money elites. The insinuation that comes with new money is a veiled threat of upward mobility, and having someone move up to your social class is a threat to the whole entire class system. Bertha is routinely kept out, pushed out of spaces that her new money status should grant her access to, but it doesn't. And that's what makes her a likable underdog in this scenario. Not only is Bertha seen as lower class, but so is her husband and her family as well. The character of Bertha is often seen wearing fabrics and colors that make her stand out next to her old money rivals. This character often chooses bolder and riskier wardrobe choices to show off her newfound wealth and luxurious lifestyle, all of which further makes the old money clique roll their eyes at Bertha and all of her schemes and machinations to climb this elusive social ladder that she should have access to, but she can't quite grasp it. Bertha spends the first season of the TV show desperately trying to climb this social ladder and gain the approval of the women who shun and reject her at every turn. And the explicit reason behind this disapproval is because of her new money, lower class status, which elevates her to the likable underdog. Now, let's compare this to Elle Woods. When we first meet this pretty blonde young woman, nothing about her is subtle. From the shade of hair to the shades of pink worn and her accessories, she is a little bit flashy. It is quickly established that not only is she the president of her sorority, which automatically insinuates a certain level of privilege, but it is also established that she is tremendously wealthy, and so are her parents. Not only are her parents tremendously wealthy, but her parents also enjoy a flashier, brighter, more colorful aesthetic similar to Elle Woods. We never learn how her parents accumulated their wealth, but it is insinuated that her parents are working. It isn't simply inherited wealth. It is something that they have actively done and are probably still actively doing to continue accumulating their wealth, which means they are quote unquote new money. But in the film Legally Blonde, we replace new money and old money with the terms California rich and East Coast rich. California rich is a stand-in for new money, and East Coast rich is a stand-in for old money. We learn that Elle Woods has a boyfriend named Warren Huntington III, and he is established as East Coast rich, so old money. And things quickly escalate in a negative fashion for poor old Elle. Her boyfriend Warren dumps her, with the explicit reason being that he does not see her as quote unquote serious enough for him and his career ambitions, explaining that he comes from 5 generations of senators, 5 generations of East Coast rich, which implies very old money and lots of privilege right there. He further explains that he simply cannot be with her because of their class differences. Even though Elle is established as very privileged and very wealthy, it does not compare. California and East Coast money simply do not compare, and he doesn't see them as compatible because of their class differences. We see this further illustrated when Elle enrolls in the Harvard Law program in an attempt to win back her loser boyfriend. A few things to note. First of all, Elle Woods had the academic credentials to get into an Ivy League law program, which is a lot to say on its own. But there's a lot to unpack here as well, just to further illustrate how rich she is. First of all, she can apply and get in right away. She has no issues paying for the tuition for the 2 to 4 years it might take for this law program to finish. She has no issues moving across country, setting up on the East Coast, furnishing, buying things, buying a new car. Money is no object to Elle Woods. And yet, when she arrives on the East Coast with her new money, California rich aesthetic, she stands out like a sore thumb. Her aesthetic, the way that she presents herself, is an instant clash to the old money East Coast rich colleagues and classmates that she has. Her bright pink, bright blonde wardrobe is in stark contrast to the dark navy and beige aesthetic that she is next to. Elle tries very hard to fit in with her classmates, but the khaki-toned, pearl-wearing classmates simply reject Elle based off of how she looks because to them, she looks like a second-class citizen. Elle had the same academic credentials, the same GPA, the same access to wealth and privilege as them, but because of her outward facade, she is clearly lesser than them. This rejection and perceived lower class status makes us, the viewer, view Elle Woods as the likable underdog, which is why I think that Bertha Russell and Elle Woods in some magical universe are very similar to each other, because when you actually look at these women, they're so rich, they're so privileged, but when we see them on screen, because they're seen as new money, it lowers them down to a different status, which is what makes us so endeared to them and makes us look at them like likable underdogs. We see both of these women struggle against these rigid, invisible class structures that, regardless of how much money they have, they simply keep getting put back in their place, regardless of the fact that they're just as competent, just as wealthy and privileged as everyone else. They're still seen as lesser than, which is what makes them these endearing, likable underdogs. And yeah, this is just what I've been thinking about. I know that this is a very different take on what I usually talk about on beauty history, but I thought it would be fun to do something slightly more pop culture. Your homework for today's episode is to like the video and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you like this format? Do you hate it? Let me know constructively down in the comments what you think, because I think it's interesting. I've been catching up on the latest season of The Gilded Age, season 3. No spoilers, but it is season 3, Bertha Russell, season 1, Bertha Russell. A little bit different. But yeah, I just was thinking of how Bertha Russell and Elle Woods represent these likable underdogs in such interesting ways. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And that's all I have for you guys for today. I'll see you next time. Bye.